Alright, so I wish I had better quality right now with my microphone, but unfortunately the microphone I usually use is broken, or just malfunctioning. It's not working properly. Regardless, I guess that means it's broken. So I saw the new Red vs. Blue Zero trailer, which I've been looking forward to for a while. And I know I've been in the middle of making some theory videos, which seem to be going on and on and on. But I got a second job recently, back in March, so I really haven't had time to work on them. But I do plan on finishing that. I have 2 more videos left that I want to do involving the prophecy. And I know the prophecy thing is going on and on for a while, but there's a lot to say. There's a lot of seasons. But anyway, basically, I just want to give my opinion on the Red vs. Blue Zero trailer before it actually comes out, because I have a tendency of wanting to do this kind of stuff, and then I end up releasing it later than I probably should have. Hence the fact that most of my videos came out many, many years after the seasons of Red vs. Blue. By the way, spoiler alert, if for anyone who hasn't seen the trailer, or if I accidentally predict something that happens, which, I mean, if it's a cool idea, I hope it happens. If it's not a cool idea, it better not happen. Okay, so to start off, we totally now know what Lopez looks like under that armor. Obviously, this isn't Lopez if you've seen the trailer for RVB0, but this is totally, by all intents and purposes, in my mind, a Lopez face reveal. Basically, the way I feel about this new trailer, it looks freaking awesome. And yeah, the Reds and Blues aren't in it. Carolina and Wash are in it, and it looks like Wash may die at the beginning. But basically, from what it looks like to me, I think that this is actually a really good direction for the show, and I think it's a direction that I wanted the show to go in after season 14, when they went back to the main story after the anthology. Not necessarily the fact of the Reds and Blues not being in it, but like criminal syndicates. And it looks like they're stealing alien technology just like the Chorus trilogy did with the Charon troopers. And funny enough, Zero's black with red highlights. And we've seen black with red highlight soldiers in actually the very first footage we got of this, and the fight scene that Eruption Fang showed us. So I think that'd be cool, and I think it might actually be that Charon's returned after all these years. And I feel like it'd be a natural way to connect to season 13 and 14, seeing as how the last 3 seasons really weren't that good. I wasn't a big fan of 15. I don't think anyone was a fan of 16. And 17 was better than the other 2 seasons, 15 and 16, but because it was coming off of the story of those 2 seasons, it didn't really do the best. Plus, it had its own inconsistencies with its own season in the previous 2 seasons, so that doesn't help. But I feel like it could be possible that Zero and his syndicate are connected to Charon, or at least inspired by Charon. I think it'd be cool if they're stealing alien tech, and a lot of this alien tech is connected to, you know, Chorus, or aliens like Chorus. Like imagine the next step of alien temples and an alien AI being these alien robots, like these Forerunner-esque robots, like, or even Forerunner-esque creatures, like the flamed sword guy in that one sneak peek we got. Or the ones in the trailer for when Raymond was like, okay, so we fight monsters now. And it looks kind of like some of those monsters are powered by the orbs or the powerful artifacts that Zero was stealing. And I think, honestly, I don't know if they're doing this, but it could be an interesting way to retcon the last 3 seasons, the Shizno paradox. It's possible that those things in the cubes, as well as that specifically yellow glowing thing, that Wash and that other scientist are ushering into that room. That'd be interesting if those were actually the power sources of the cosmic powers in Krovos himself, and they actually discovered that those are, of course, you know, Forerunner-esque technology created by people like the ones who created Chorus, and they're not actually gods, obviously, like we knew in the Shizno Paradox trilogy. And even, you know, Krovos wouldn't be even a god. Like we saw, he was an orb as well, so who created him? And yeah, I know they said he came out of nowhere, coming out of that black hole, and he was Genkins. But I just think that overall, that's kind of a dumb twist. And it could be something that they set up, you know, like Genkins made himself into Krovos, but maybe in the original timeline he wasn't. And he was created by the people, or similar people, that created Chorus. Like, I always liked the idea in the Shizno Paradox that maybe, you know, Krovos, since he's the god of time, maybe he was the orb that created the time distortion unit, because I had always theorized that the time distortion unit was from Chorus in general, because, you know, the temple that showed people the future and the past, and the future cubes that teleported people. But overall, I think that'd be an interesting way to have RVB Zero retcon the last 3 seasons, if you even want to watch them. And personally, I feel like the fact that they're brand new characters is actually a good idea. Personally, I feel like having brand new characters is a good idea because, you know, Bernie and the people who make Red versus Blue have always liked the idea of each arc could be considered the last arc, or if, you know, if you didn't like that arc, you could skip it. And with this one, it's a little more difficult because they set up a lot of storylines for the characters that, if you ignore the Shizno Paradox and then saw them in the next trilogy or what have you, they would be a little different than you saw them in Chorus. And so you'd be like, what the hell happened to them? Because I personally feel like that trilogy, like, maimed the personalities of a lot of those characters. They all ended up very depressing at the end of it. Like, Tucker realized he was a shitty leader, and so he gave it to Donut. Donut ran off into the galaxy to find himself. Carolina was depressed. Wash was brain dead. And it's just like, not really my big, you know, idea of a cool closure of a trilogy. I always hope they'd build up Tucker, not make him dumber or weaker, but, you know, it's whatever. But my point being, I feel like the way they're doing this season, for what it looks like, could very well be a good way to connect to season 13 if you wanted to just completely skip the Shizno Paradox trilogy. Because, yeah, the Reds and Blues go into retirement after taking down Charon. And so maybe the syndicate that Zero works for is one of the many people in that web of politicians, you know, criminals and clients that the chairman was talking about in season 13. Something I actually really wanted to see after the events of season 14 when they went back to the main story. They never actually did that. They just kind of went along with the lines of, you know, everything after 10 months is over. That story's over. Now my story, says Joe Nicolosi. Or that's what it seemed like. And so I feel like there's a lot of things that could have been explored like that. And Zero is a great way of exploring that, personally. And Carolina being the one to lead them, that makes total sense, you know. Wash was the main leader of the Chorus soldiers, and Carolina was the freelancer that helped. Now Carolina is the leader of these soldiers, just like her father was. And so I think that's a great idea. However, Wash, I feel either Wash should be in retirement after this season, or he should be off doing stuff, or he should be in the season. If they kill him off at the beginning of the season, if that scene where he's walking in there is the scene he dies, I'm going to be kind of pissed off, because I really like Wash as a character. And so, you know, that would just kind of be a crappy way for him to die. If they do it heroically, yeah, cool. But still, I don't want him to die. You know, kind of sucks. What if Zero ends up being a crappy villain? Then he died at the hands of a crappy villain. But anyway, that's kind of how I feel like this season could be going. That's my theory on the whole situation. Zero is essentially a syndicate leader, you know, and his syndicate could be connected to Charon. And they're stealing alien tech just like Charon. And so these monsters and creatures with giant swords could be alien tech, either, you know, that they're stealing from Charon, or the sword guy could be someone they're trying to fight and take the tech from, or he's fighting back or something. I don't know. I think that'd be awesome, and personally, if that's what's going on, that's how I've wanted the show to be this whole time, and hopefully it's a good season. If it's a good season, I hope it's got a good trilogy ahead of itself. It could be a really cool next step in Red versus Blue, but yeah, that's basically how I'm seeing the season going so far. It would be awesome to see Locust again, but, you know, with Gray being let go or leaving company or whatever happened, you know, I highly doubt that's going to happen, that Gray comes back. And so it kind of looks like it'd be an interesting mix of Project Freelancer and Mercs, since it's got criminal syndicates, which also kind of helps my happiness of this season. You know, after season 13, after 14 actually, I wanted to see more of Mercs, and we're clearly not going to get more of Mercs at this point. It'd be cool if we could get more of Cyrus. But anyway, the point being that I feel like that could be happening. Charon could be returning. And if so, that's pretty awesome. But I'm going to do the best I can to get my next 2 videos out. It's Obviously, it's about Season 12 and Season 13, and it seems like the Great Prophecy's over. And as I said in my last video, I thought the ship from the Freezing Plains in Season 4 was meant to go to Chorus. The last thing to explain is the fact that Locus, in my opinion, is the Great Destroyer. Yeah, those videos are going to be about why. But basically the gist of it is, in my opinion, Locus is the actual Great Destroyer. While I said that Caboose was in my other videos, I feel like he's just a vessel up until we actually get to the real Great Destroyer. Hopefully my evidence actually makes sense. So I really hope this next season of RVB is awesome. I could really do with a good season of RVB. A lot of the other things I like now kind of suck, like Star Wars or the X-Men movies are now with Disney, so, you know, there's that. A lot of people like that idea. I'm not a big fan of that. I was a fan of the X-Men movies we were getting, except for maybe Dark Phoenix and another movie, which I won't mention now because I want my views. So, hopefully it's a good season, and I'll try to get my videos out as soon as I can. Bye and thanks.